So on my way down to Kentucky last week, I had to pull over. I was actually crossing over West Virginia, the capital of Charleston, when my phone started to explode with this news that the Chiefs have traded for this wide receiver. And I'm like, what? What's going on here? I had to pull over to the side of the road because I was tweeting. My girlfriend was like, no, this is unsafe. You can't be tweeting about Chiefs news while you're driving on the highway. So I pulled over. She drove for a little bit. But we ended up trading for Kadarius Toney, second-year wide receiver from the New York Giants. He's only been active in 12 of the possible 24 games in his young career. And so far it's been plagued by injuries, mainly a hamstring injury. A little bit about Kadarius Toney for people who don't really know. Coming out of college, comparative to Santana Moss and a Tyreek Hill combination. And I feel like every kind of like fast twitch guy has been compared to Tyreek Hill, who's a little smaller, has been compared to Tyreek Hill. I honestly think he's more Santana Moss than Tyreek Hill, but we'll see. We'll see how things continue with him. Obviously, both guys, good names to live up to there. But he's shown some flashes in the New Orleans game last year and the Dallas game. He really dominated. He looked really good, but he also, didn't really do much outside of those two games. Some may say his career in New York was hindered by injuries and also a little bit of the QB play and the offense there in New York. But get that to brass tacks. He's young, he's cheap, he's under contract for a good while. And all we did was trade an extra third that we had, and a 6th-round pick for him. And for a guy who has an insane ceiling, who was in the 1st-round pick just last year, just 1 year ago, I have to ask you, JD, what were your thoughts on this trade?
So I didn't really mind it. I didn't mind it at all. I think, you're getting a guy who has a ton of ability. He's definitely somebody could be a game changer. The thing is, keeping him healthy. And so, sometimes with these guys, it's a significant injury, especially with your hamstring, fast guys. And so if what you're relying upon is your speed, looseness, that's your calling card. That's your moneymaker. And so hopefully he gets healthy. I knew we took him off once he got here, taking him off the injury list. So maybe he'll be ready to play. So we'll see. We'll see. So he's a young guy. The good thing is, if we're looking at for the future, here's a guy that you could kind of build on. This is a guy that you could get here, and help develop him with some of the other young guys that we got here as well that's talented. So that you address that issue in itself. But I don't mind it, man. Shoot, if you get somebody like that, a speed guy who's got that type of ability, game-breaking ability, hit their head on the goalpost anytime they get the ball in his hands, hey, man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So good deal. Maybe him coming out of that environment up there, because like you said before, I think part of it had to do with the offense. Just they weren't really hitting on anything up there in New York, and especially when you don't have Barkley, which they didn't have last year, things a little tough. And so, Daniel Jones was struggling, got hurt. It was a lot of difficulty for him. And so maybe now he comes to this winning machine that we got, things going to change. Hopefully things will change for him. Work him into the offense. I guess maybe around week 12 or so, he start working in. He can get a little bit more in the mix. So we'll see. We'll see. But I like it. I do like it.
And I think for starters, at the very minimum, we'll see him hopefully get in maybe at special teams this week. I mean, we talked, but last time we talked about Sky Moore maybe not being the punt returner that they're trying to make him to be. This guy, well, he didn't have a lot of punt returns in college. Only his senior year, I think he had like maybe 12 to 15 punt returns in college. His senior year mainly. He did have a touchdown at punt returning. So he's done it on the college level. I think he only returned one last year with the Giants, but the guy did it in college and was pretty damn good at it, especially in the SEC. So, I mean, I think, I saw videos of him catching punts today, and obviously, catching it with no defense or anyone tackling him or anything, but he looked like a natural punt returner back there. So, I mean, I think what's the harm in putting him back there?
No, I mean, that to me, I think it's a huge issue. And so when you're talking about field position, getting somebody back there that has, can catch the ball, get up the field, make guys miss, you need a guy like that. We've been missing that guy, and it's not really, tearing down Sky Moore or even Pacheco on the kickoff return, but you need a guy that's going to be able to get you positive yards. And when you have a returner who is a weapon, then you got to use a lot. You got to utilize him. You have to. If you don't, then what are you doing? You're just making it harder on the offense. And so I don't think they're going to say, hey, nah, we ain't gonna put him in right now. Like you said, if we could use you at this moment and give you just a little bit, shoot, why not? Why not? He can make a difference. I don't care what he plays. He'll be able to make a difference. Come in, shoot, sign him up, put him out there. I think he'll do a lot better than what the guys that we have been seeing has been doing. So I trust his ability. I do.
Yeah, plus having that home run threat at that return position is always it's always an added boost for teams. One thing that people have been saying is like having a receiver. Oh, this guy's going to be a non-factor this year because no one can learn that Andy Reid playbook so fast. And the thing was, I read that apparently he's a very intelligent kid. He played quarterback in high school. So like he can probably people were saying I think it was the Schultz report online was like this guy's very intelligent kid, and don't be surprised if he does grasp the playbook faster than some others. So I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that he played quarterback in high school, I think that definitely helps him as far as getting able to be able to bring up the speed maybe a little bit faster. But I mean, it is
Oh
Andy
yeah.
Reid's playbook, so
Well, no, I mean that'd be a tremendous help because then he could communicate with Patrick Mahomes on certain things that he's looking at as far as perspective of a quarterback with different things that you see and what you want from your receiver. I think it makes it a lot easier, especially when you go to, like you said, wide receiver from quarterback. So you see guys like that, uh, like Travis Kelce, right? Travis has a good understanding about getting open and so knowing what Patrick wants. Who's another one? Julian Edelman was another guy, right? Kind of understood how to get open in different zones and whatnot. And so when you start thinking about guys who play quarterback, becoming wide receivers, they tend to do pretty well. They tend to do pretty well because they understand the defenses, what they're going against, and when it's like I said before, what is expected out of them.
mm.
Who was the quarterback? I can't think. I see his face from Ohio State. They turned into a wide receiver.
Oh,
Uh,
JT Barrett.
no, I can't think his name, but he was he with Cleveland? I'm not sure.
Uh,
I think
uh,
I think in a minute. But he did pretty well. I'm just making a point that he did really well also because it was just like, well, where he's at quarterback wise, kind of struggled a little bit, but then he became a wide receiver and he was like, oh my gosh, every week he's catching, 4 or 5 balls. So I don't know. I had to look up his name to see.
yeah, I'm
But
trying.
yeah,
Was it Braxton Miller?
uh, no, it wasn't Braxton. No Braxton.
Hmm. I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to remember that. Yeah, I mean, I think that regardless if it's right now, and I think a lot of Chiefs fans are just. I think the whole Josh Gordon thing kind of really tuned out a lot of the in season receiver type signings. I think people just think that because Josh Gordon didn't really grasp the playbook or whatever the reason was, people just want to think that he didn't grasp the playbook and he never really got on the field because of that reason. And I just think people are saying, oh, right away it's a nothing burger for this season because that guy won't ever whoever it is won't be able to grasp the playbook. And I think with our team right now, I think Toney provides something to the team that doesn't really have that burner that Hardman's fast, but Hardman, as we've seen, is mainly our gadget guy. And if we have Toney could be this burner.
So yeah, no, the guy I was thinking about was Terrell Pryor. Was a quarterback, played Ohio State. That came in and did really well as a wide receiver.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, Toney could definitely come in and make some noise. He can move the chains, and so if we get him acclimated into the offense, he's going to be another weapon for us. And so, and hence, does that say that now because you got that type of weapon, do you need an OBJ to come um, in your offense, right? Because you got a guy who's a game changer, if you will, if he stays healthy, right?
Mm.
And to me personally, I'm just going to say this: where the guys have been and how they've been getting better week after week after week. I think we've jailed to the point where now, yeah, you ask somebody that to what you want to do is a luxury. If he comes in and plays, it's going to be even better, right? And I think Kadarius Toney gives you that. He's a first round pick, and so he was a first round pick for a reason. And so, yeah, does that necessarily say, hey, well now maybe you want to go in a different direction than OBJ, right? That's what I think. How you feel about that? What do you think?
I'm on board with it. I think obviously that Toney provides something that the guys on the team do not provide, and I also think Toney provides something that I mean, OBJ doesn't even provide that. It's an over-the-top threat, and he can kind of do like a little bit of everything. Obviously, small sample size. We haven't really seen him do much. But I also think that on top of that, OBJ's older. This guy's young. He's on a rookie deal still. Harmon's gone after this year. JuJu's gone after this year. So by bringing in Toney, it kind of people say he's the McCall Hardman replacement, but it really just checks off a box as far as, I mean, maybe he won't be utilized as the Hardman, but that checks off a box as one receiver that comes in when Hardman's gone next year. So, but yeah, I think we'll get to this our next topic, but I think that with the money that we have to spend, does not need to be going to OBJ. That we have way too many receivers. That we should need to bring in another receiver because that would make no sense. The only two moves we make before the deadline are two receivers when receivers really aren't the issue for us. I mean,
right. It's not the issue. That's what I was saying too. So,
yeah, it'd be silly. And that's the thing that scares me is because people said even though we got Toney, that doesn't rule out OBJ, and that's just like that. How is that possible?
Yeah, I just it would make no sense to me. If it was me, I wouldn't do it. I'm like, hey man, look, we got a young guy here. We met what we needed as far as having an extra receiver here that's going to be able to make plays. Sure, like you said, it checks all the boxes. If somebody's going to be here for a long term, why go a different route? Why get somebody else here where I think the more dire need, the more position that needs to be addressed is obviously defensive line or outside, or pass rush. Period. Right. So that's where I'm at with it. So,
yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.